your Wednesday's going well so far. I'm Carl Azus. It's great to have you watching CNN Student News today. First up, Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi, the leader of Iraq, visited the White House yesterday. One major focus of his visit, funding. Iraq is facing a budget deficit of $22 billion this year. President Obama pledged $200 million to help Iraqi communities and the people who are struggling. But Prime Minister al-Abadi is seeking much more and meeting with other international officials to request it. In addition to recovering from years of war, Iraq is fighting ISIS, Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. It wants to form a new country in the region based on its severe interpretation of Islam. Late last week, ISIS attacked Iraq's largest oil refinery and said it took control of part of it. Iraqi forces denied that claim, saying they were in full control. Most of Iraq's revenue comes from oil sales, but low global oil prices are hurting its economy. We're moving now to East Asia. Since 1953, when fighting ended in the Korean War, North and South Korea have been divided by the Demilitarized Zone. But it's actually the most heavily militarized border in the world, with forces built up on each side of it. An international group of female activists is hoping to walk across it from north to south. Their intention is to promote peace in the Korean Peninsula and bring divided families together. North Korea says it supports the march, but the U.S. is repeating its warning for American citizens not to travel to North Korea, a communist dictatorship with a bad human rights record. If and when the activists reach the demilitarized zone, here's what they can expect to see.
So we're going here onto the actual line to go into North Korea, and I actually have to walk this way. We can't shoot left, we can't shoot right, we can only shoot forward. There's a lot of restrictions on our cameras, but to get here we had to go through 3 checkpoints. We passed some anti-tank explosives, and now we're about to go into these blue rooms and into the North Korean line. So the North Koreans and the South Koreans still meet in this room?
Yes, the last known visit was 2008.
Literally, these microphones on the table are what defines the line. So North Korea on this side, South Korea on that side. It seems so easy, it's just one step. But when you think about all of the militarization and what you go through and the barbed wire, it's certainly far from easy. This concrete slab is literally the border. We're shooting it from the northern side, 17 inches by 5 inches, concrete. That's it. That marks the border. It's been here since 1953. And now the way that they pass messages, it's pretty amazing. They don't use email. They don't actually even use a phone. There's a phone, but it rings and rings. The North Koreans don't answer it. They actually, by bullhorn, communicate to the North Koreans. When we were inside the building, we could walk onto the North Korean side of it. But if I were to do that outside the building, to actually step over that line here, what would happen to me?
What would happen is all these soldiers here would make an attempt to stop you, especially me. And once you get over there, we can no longer help you.
What would the North Koreans do?
Probably run down there and grab you.
For the South Korean soldiers, this is the most prestigious assignment there is. To serve here in the DMZ, they have to be at least 5 feet 9 inches tall, which is taller than average, and every single one of them has a black belt in Taekwondo. So North Korean and South Korean soldiers stand here every single day and stare at each other. The South Korean soldiers are right behind me, and then you can see that concrete building. That's where North Korean tourists can come to visit the DMZ, and apparently a lot of Chinese actually come through the North Korean side as well. And then there's that soldier. He stands there every single day, but the South Koreans and the Americans don't know his name, so they just refer to him as Bob.
Best way to get on our roll call, make one request every day on our transcript page at cnnstudentnews.com. You've got to be at least 13 years old to do it. Meadows Valley Schools made a request yesterday. In New Meadows, Idaho, say hello to the Mountaineers. Philip W. Sugg Middle also popped up on yesterday's transcript. In Lisbon Falls, Maine, can you keep up with the Greyhounds? And from Southeastern Asia, we heard from the Singapore American School yesterday. They're online in the island nation of Singapore. It was 2 years ago today that tragedy struck at the Boston Marathon. Terrorist bombs killed 3 people on April 15, 2013, and injured more than 260 others. Some of the victims lost arms or legs. It was the worst act of terrorism on U.S. soil since the attacks of September 11, 2001. The 2 brothers who carried out the bombings later killed a police officer. One of the attackers was killed in a shootout. The other was convicted and is waiting to find out whether he'll get the death penalty or spend the rest of his life in prison. Some of the victims of the bombings said they were relieved by the conviction. Thousands have attended memorial services since the attacks. Parts of Japan are still recovering or still devastated from the 2011 earthquake and tsunami that killed almost 16,000 people. The natural disasters leveled parts of the country. They swept millions of tons of debris out into the Pacific Ocean. And they caused nuclear meltdowns at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in Japan's northeast. Decommissioning that plant will cost an estimated $50 billion and take years to do. Here's why.
Time for the shout-out. The Blue Angels are part of which branch of the U.S. military? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it the Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines? You've got 3 seconds. Go! It's B. The Blue Angels are officially the U.S. Navy Flight Demonstration Squadron, though the Marines are eligible to fly with them. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
Case in point, U.S. Marine Corps Captain Katie Higgins. She just became the first female pilot in the 69-year history of the Blue Angels. Captain Higgins flies the Angels C-130 Hercules, the largest winged performer of the group. She told CBS News that her inclusion, quote, shows little girls and guys that women can do whatever they put their mind to. She'd already flown hundreds of combat hours supporting operations in the Middle East, Europe, and Africa. Millions of people have seen the Blue Angels perform. In other airborne news, we've covered a lot of the ups and downs of drones, showing you legal video from them, reporting on the illegal use of them in Paris, even covering a time when a golfer took one out with a shot that was a little off target. Before we go today, this will be the first time we've showed you a drone getting attacked by an angry ape.
How many chimps does it take to down a drone? 1 plus a branch. Watch a middle-aged female named Tushy get off her tush and whack that sucker at Burger Zoo in the Netherlands.
She hit it spot on and, well, it collapsed.
Zoo spokesman Bas Lukenaar saw it happen and was flabbergasted. They were shooting an episode for a TV show about the zoo. The chimps in the tree didn't just happen to be holding branches. Zoo officials said they armed themselves against the drone. Tushy is notorious for having a good arm for throwing things. The drone, worth a little over $2,000, was demolished.
That was a bummer.
But it wasn't a bummer for the chimps on the ground, who took some ultra close-up selfies, chimpin' selfies, as the zoo calls them. But the chimps got bored with the camera a lot faster than humans do. Tushy reminded us of yet another ape being buzzed. King Kong eventually lost his perch. But Tushy,
well, these chimpanzees have out-clevered the humans.
It's hard not to drone on about how smart she is.
Of course, it did involve high sticking. Some might have called that a chimp shot, and the drone wasn't exactly chimp change, but it made for some great video, and the droner didn't seem too treed off about it. I'm Carl Azus for CNN Student News.